Hiya, and welcome back to Far Beyond the World. I cannot think of anything to say about it. Hello. Yeah, I cannot think of anything to say about it. I wish I could, but I can't. I would make another Batman joke, but I've already made like 2 Batman jokes, so no. So, now I can't think of anything, so let's just hop right in. I recline comfortably into the chair, just enjoying the warmth of the hearth, but it doesn't last too long. Rannoch, it's me, get decent. We can hear Varissa's muffled voice from behind the door. I look at the male confused. Did she also walk in on him in the past? It's your cue. Hide. Oh. I nod in understanding and rush back into the bedroom. I close the doors behind me, putting my ear against the wooden planks. Come in. I hear Varissa enter the cabin accompanied by a set of heavy footsteps. I assume it's Vol. The sound of the other doors closing behind reaches my ear, when I am pushed away with the force of the bedroom door swinging open. I am squished into the wall, struggling to keep the doors from crushing me. Where is he? Here, I mutter as the doors pull away from me. I can see Varissa looking at me with an impatient gaze, holding some sort of small wooden container. What are you doing? I was hiding. What a fine job you did of it. She scoffs, waiting for Rannoch to join us. As he closes the door behind him, he regards his friends with an expectant gaze. Well, what is the plan? As much as I hate it, we're going to follow your initial idea. What? The wolf blinks and I share his confusion. More so since I can see a barely contained smirk behind Volgor's stone-cold expression. It's bad waking up to two wolves with no memory until you meet the water. Oh god, the water bucket. I thought you said the whole sanctuary thing was a wash. Yes, but there are 2 things we can do to make it less so. What things? You're going to love it. Finally, the black male allows the smirk to stretch across his muzzle. It unsettles me a lot. I'm gonna tell you what I told Lucas, Volgor. What the ever-loving fuck are you doing with the smile on your face? Wipe that fucking smile off your face, Volgor. Wipe that goddamn smile off your face. It unsettles me a lot. Stop being cryptic and simply spill it out already. Varissa doesn't say a word, clearly not comfortable with whatever they had come up with. But I can see Vol's gaze drill into me, and as he narrows his eyes, it finally dawns on me. Oh no. Wait, you said only gravely wounded can... I cut off as Volgor arches his brow in a satisfied smile. Mm-hmm. We need to fix this little lapse in our argument. I feel my heart sink into my stomach and I automatically move towards the bed to sit down on it. I hear a growl brewing inside Rannoch's throat, his hackles rising as he widens his stance. You're not suggesting what I think you're suggesting. Spare me the theatrics. You asked for my help, and here it is. She looks at me with a calm, calculative gaze. I knew it was our only way forward yesterday, however, I first had to communicate with the spirits to make sure I'm not making a mistake. And this is what you came up with? I jump as he spits out in anger, snarling at the other wolves. Vol is right. You're high as a fucking kite. I hear a melodic growl rise from the female as she only gives Rannoch a side eye. Watch it. She utters softly through her fangs. It's either this, or the human gets killed. I will not allow it. Then we will report you to the chief and simply end this madness. The female waves her paw dismissively. I cannot help you if you are not willing to listen. I try to contain involuntary shivers rocking my body as my heart races through my chest. They aren't here to discuss options. It's an ultimatum. I can see Rannoch getting more and more rattled, and I want to avoid another ball. Rannoch. I struggle to speak through my clenched throat. It's fine. I try to reassure him, but the wolf doesn't pay me any mind. The fuck it is! Even he understands. Volgor nods to me. Since it's the human's life on the line, perhaps you should have the final say. The black male looks at me expectantly, and I freeze. What do they want me to say? I don't mind getting hurt. I struggle with responding, my lips trembling. Don't say a word. Rannoch commands, and I straighten up like a scolded child. He is looking at the white female with anger. What was the point of you even communing with the spirits? He asks mockingly, as if doubting she even did it. Because we are about to lie in the face of our ancestors. Even if we hurt the human to make him look wounded, it will be a lie, because he wasn't wounded when you brought him here. And what? They agreed? They told you that mutilating him was a great idea? He continues to snarl, and I can see that this whole concept doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with him as much as it doesn't sit well with me. But at the end of the day, it's me who has to suffer, and if it's a choice between death and getting them in trouble, or following whatever scheme this female cooked up, I don't know. I'm so conflicted. The ancestors didn't say anything, which I simply take as a lack of their objection. Conveniently. Even now, Vol cannot help himself. His indifference and calm demeanor somehow helps me steel myself, and I stand up. Okay. They all regard me with surprise, Rannoch more so than the others. Let's do it. God damn it, Volgor. What the fuck do we keep saying, Volgor? Wipe that smile off your face, Volgor. Or we'll be mutilating you next. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. You're not serious. I am. I look at him sternly. I appreciate his protectiveness, however, it doesn't help us here. If it's the only way. I look to Verissa as she winces in discomfort. Trust me, if there was another... I know. I nod. Believe me, she would not have suggested this if she had a better idea. After all, she is pretty adamant that she saves lives, not endangers them. I approach the white she-wolf with a reluctant step, stopping just a few paces away from her. So, what are we talking about? I look at their serious muzzles one by one. One of you will maul me? Volgor stifles a chuckle, looking at me with a half-smirk. You'd like that, wouldn't you, piglet? Shut up. Rannoch growls again, forcing me to place a hand on his rattled chest. Salen, this is... I move my hand to his muzzle, cutting him off. His outbursts aren't helping, and I want this to be over with. So what then? Verissa looks to Volgor, who pulls out his dagger, presenting it to her. I grimace, seeing its sharp tip glistening in the sun. You're going to stab me? I look to the she-wolf with a worried expression. I'm not. I don't have enough experience to not actually hurt you. And as a shaman, I took an oath. So did he! And I'm sure as fuck not gonna do it. Hold up. Let me pull that up. Where's Beth? Here we go. There we go. Hold up. I'm curious about something. Okay. I thought that was like Volgor's skin because it looks like it for a second. I didn't ask you. Vol is the only one who can do it safely. The black male regards Verissa with slight discomfort. I did swear on my moonstone not to hurt the human. The point here is to do the exact opposite, to make it look bad while it being nothing more than a flesh wound. You're not going to be hurting the human, you'll be saving his life. You're playing semantics? Ha! Now it bothers you? He snorts. I think this will hurt me no matter how you will dress it in words. I mutter with resignation, glancing to Volgor. The black male is quite calm, his expression not entirely cold, and almost sympathetic. Or perhaps I'm just seeing what I want to see. No, he cannot be the one to do it. He gets carried away way too easily. Rannoch, you're obviously too emotionally involved in this. You'll either botch it up or make a completely unconvincing scrape. Vol is not only our best fighter, but he's also an experienced butcher. I blink, shuddering at the second epithet. And that's better how? Because I know where to push the blade without damaging any of your innards. No! The Grey Wolf protests, but the female locks her gaze with mine. I'd say it's only fair for the human to decide. Salen, if you really agree to go through with this madness, at least let me do it. I look at Rannoch's desperate expression, worried about the choice I'm presented with. I know the Grey Wolf means well, and I inexplicably trust him with my life, but at the same time, I don't know if I could look at him the same way if he were to be the one to stab me. So far, he is the only anchor that allows me to stay calm and grounded. I don't want to lose that safe haven I have with him. But then I look to Volgor, who simply raises his brow expectantly. Can I really trust this brute to not go overboard? Immediately, the image of a snarling snout flashes through my mind as he hangs above, squeezing the life out of me. I cringe, ominous feel of dread filling my mind again. His blade will taste my flesh after all. The question is whose paw will guide it. Damn it all to hell. Which one? Let's go with Batman. I'd rather Volgor do it. Salen. I approach the Grey Wolf with an apologetic gaze. I can see he is taking it the wrong way, that he feels I don't trust him. I gently touch the side of his muzzle, petting him reassuringly. I don't want to associate you with being stabbed. He narrows his eyes, looking at me unconvinced. He already choked me. What's one stabbing going to change? I try to make him laugh, but he simply looks away. Volgor is the one who chuckles at the remark, causing Rannoch to idly growl. This is fucked up. I laugh nervously. You only noticed this now? Things have been crazy around here ever since I woke up. He sighs, looking at me with sad eyes. I'll make it up to you, I promise. I know you will. Or that he will at least try. Not sure how one can make up for a stabbing. Rannoch pushes past me and squares off with Volgor, looking the other male right into his eyes. If you fuck this up, relax. The kid made the right choice and you know it. Have I, though? I feel the black paw land on my shoulder, drawing my attention to the larger male. I grimace as Volgor winks at me. Get the moonshine. Gotta do this right. Rannoch nods reluctantly and disappears into the other room. He returns shortly with a clay bottle in his paws. The Grey Wolf removes the cork with his teeth, causing a hollow popping sound. I can feel a boozy smell from where I stand as he passes the bottle to Volgor. Here. The black male pushes the bottle towards me, and I look at him with confusion. Take a deep, long gulp. He says almost indifferently, and I grimace. The smell's making me woozy. This is some other level shit. But I am about to be stabbed. Bro. It's vodka. You know, it's like, don't just erase a bad memory. Wipe the whole fucking hard drive. I reluctantly look to the blade tucked behind Volgor's belt and swallow heavily. Which one? I swear to God, this is giving us, like, so many options. That's pretty much what it's like. I sigh and quickly push the bottle to my lips. Pour it straight to the back of your throat. Do not even try to taste it. He gives the advice just before I tilt my head back. I try to let the liquid wash over my mouth, but the burning sensation hits me within just a second. I cough like a drowning man, spitting out some of the alcohol along the way. The Black Wolf scoffs with amusement, quickly pushing the bottle back to my face. You seriously need to take more than that. trust me? I nod, taking another deep breath. The smell of his concoction makes my head spin, and it takes me a few more moments to muster the courage. I try again to swallow as much of the burning substance as I can. I manage to take 2 long gulps before my stomach threatens to evacuate its contents. I smack my lips as I push the bottle away, taking a few rattled breaths. Fuck, it's disgusting! Volgor takes the bottle away from me and pulls his dagger out. I look at it reluctantly, seeing as the wolf douses it with moonshine. He passes the blade to Rannoch to hold for a moment, while he approaches me and touches my makeshift toga. I feel very awkward about this brute undressing me, and when I hear the linen fall to the ground, that sensation is empowered. I don't know if it's the booze already hitting me, but I feel flushed, and despite the cold air, my face is burning hot. Vol simply picks up a corner of the linen and soaks it with alcohol, gently rubbing and cleaning my left side with a damp cloth. This is where he means to stab me. I feel my heart race, my breath rattle, my vision blur. I can see he knows what he's doing, but it's going to be okay. He whispers softly, obviously picking up on my increasing heart rate. I made a promise, didn't I? He looks at me, holding up his moonshine to my face. I cannot be sure if I'm imagining it, but I can see a subtle, reassuring smile on his face. God damn it, Rannoch, wipe that fucking... No, Rannoch, Volgor. God damn it, Rannoch. Fuck. God damn it, Volgor. Wipe that fucking smile off your face. I take a deep breath, seeing as he retrieves his blade from Rannoch. The gray wolf has a worried expression, with ears folded back and his tail tucked. I'll be fine. I mutter towards Rannoch, who nods reluctantly. It's almost funny that I try to reassure him just before getting stabbed. I feel the black wolf grab my shoulder and stumble back in slight panic. Shouldn't we wait for the booze to kick in? It will kick in, when needed. His large muscular arms swoop behind me, pulling me into an awkward half-embrace. Do you want to gag? He asks softly, but I shake my head. I remember what he used last time. Besides, I feel that a gag would only make this whole experience much more terrifying. You cannot scream. I nod nervously. Okay then, rest yourself against me and do not move. I sigh and push my body against his form. It almost feels like leaning against a wall covered with fur. Each of his muscles hard like a brick. Yeah, that is true. Volgor does look better with the smile than Lucas. Like, let's do a quick comparison. Let me see if I can, go back to him smiling. Okay, so, here we have, him smiling. Where's Lucas at? Is that it? No, no, that's Slim Diego. Fuck, I have way too many loaded. Where is it? Fuck. Where is it? There we go. Let's do, a quick comparison. Okay, right here. Does not look good. Does look good. Okay, he does pull it off. But Lucas here doesn't. I sigh and push my body against his form. It almost feels like leaning against a wall covered with fur, each of his muscles hard like a brick. His left paw holds my back, pressing me harder into his torso as I rest my head upon his chest. For the first time I get close enough to feel a scent. He smells of tree bark and earth. A very manly smell, to be sure. I can hear his heartbeat, slow and steady, almost as if he were sleeping. Not a hint of stress or hesitation, and it allows me to steel myself for what's to come. I shudder as the tip of the blade gently pricks my left side just above the hip, as Volgor aligns his dagger with my body. It's okay, don't look at it, he says, drawing my gaze upwards to his muzzle. That's it, look at me. My eyes swell as I gaze into his blood-red irises. Time seems to stop as I hear my breath echo, almost as if everything came to a halt. In a split second, I feel a hard, wet punch to my side with a cold metal handle pressing against my skin. I gasp, not even registering much pain at first. It only stings, and I hold my breath in disbelief as I see the blade disappear into my flesh up to the hilt. Shh. I close my eyes, causing the tears to flow freely. I can feel him push me harder into his body as I begin to shiver. Then the gasps turn into screams as he pulls the blade out of my body. My legs go soft and I fully rest in Volgor's embrace. I hear the knife clank to the floor as the black wolf prevents me from falling. He covers my mouth with his paw while another set reaches out to me from behind. Shh. Let me try and find it. I should not have done that. This is too emotional of a scene. Salem! It is pain like I've never felt before, radiating from the wound and shifting rapidly between sharp, painful twinges and dull, hammer-like pounding. Volgor shushes me while I try to contain my wailing. I keep hyperventilating with his paw still covering my mouth. I open my eyes, meeting their worried gazes. I try to reach my throbbing side, but Verissa quickly rushes in and pushes my hand away. Don't touch it! She scolds me, carefully inspecting the wound. I just look at the ceiling, regarding the same planks I looked at the night before. I close my eyes again, crying out in another surge of agony, severe pain radiating from within the wound. It's fine. It's deep, but almost no bleeding. Pushed it between the skin and muscle. Right, get him onto the bed. I always thought people pass out when something like this happens, but no matter how distressed I am, or how much pain I'm in, I cannot faint. My mind is clear and sharp. Almost everything seems to happen in slow motion. I feel as if I levitate, drifting lifelessly across the room. I see them move me onto the bed, with Verissa dousing my wound with the moonshine. It stings like hell, but it's just a minor inconvenience compared to the agony my entire left side is in. Then the female opens her little container, dipping her paw into what looks like some sort of ointment. She rubs it generously onto my wound, saying something to the others, but by now I only hear muffled sounds. My vision begins to blur just as I notice Rannoch's sorrowful expression appear above me. I reach out to him, but I feel an odd weakness overtake me. Just as my hand is about to drop back to the bed, he grabs it, kneeling next to me. It's okay. I'm here. I hear his voice echo as if we were in a cave. I am sorry he has to see this. His distress clearly visible makes this so much worse. The room spins a little, and I feel like vomiting. The female begins to cover my side with bandages. However, my head gets increasingly heavy. I think the booze began to hit me, and the pain, although still great, begins to dull out. My eyes are hot and dry, and I need to close them just for a moment to give them a rest. Their muffled conversation begins to fade as eventually I just let go and drift away. There's no more pain. My eyes open onto the wooden ceiling, a familiar knotted plank just above me. It's clearly nighttime. The room is dark and cold, so very cold. Despite being covered by several blankets, my entire body shivers and I can hear my teeth chattering. The slight discomfort in my side reminds me of what happened. I was stabbed. I reached where the blade has penetrated my skin, feeling meticulous dressing covering the wound. I wince under my own touch, the spot's still sore but surprisingly less so than I expected. A droplet runs across my face all the way from my forehead towards the chin. I'm sweating. Only now I realize I am a little bit woozy. I feel lightheaded and it almost seems as if I'm on a boat. I try to swallow but can't, as my throat is completely empty. Rannoch? Ain't risking it. I attempt to call out but only hear a raspy wheeze between my lips. I struggle to swallow again, looking around the dark room. My eyes lock immediately on a large shadow settled on the coffer in front of the bed. I can't make out what it actually is through my blurry eyes, but the shape fills me with dread. It almost looks like a dark figure sitting there, watching me. Is this another nightmare? Who are you? I demand, but again all I manage is a stifled whisper. Cold sweat dots my body, and I feel both freezing and on fire. My eyes burning, forcing me to shut them every few seconds. My muscles ache, but I manage to crawl myself towards the edge of the bed, constantly observing the foreboding shadow on the other side of the room. I need to get out of here. I lean myself over the edge and repeat the same mistake I made the very first moment I woke up in this world. I tumble lifelessly to the floor, and despite how hard I hit the wooden planks, my body is already in so much agony that the pain does not even register. The shadow springs up in surprise and immediately rushes towards me. I want to scream in terror, but cannot manage anything other than a hiss. Salen, what the hell are you doing? Oh, thank God he's wearing pants. A shadowy figure enters the faint light coming from the outside, and I immediately recognize the gray wolf. His voice draws from me an involuntary smile, as I tear up seeing his muzzle and raising my arms to embrace him. Fuck, you're burning up again, he mutters, as the world tilts and I'm floating again. I look at him with confusion before I realize that I'm actually in his arms. I try to reach his muzzle, but my hand gives up halfway through, so I just lean my head into his breast, taking in the scent of the forest. He carries me back to the bed, resting me gently on the padding. I see his worried expression as he puffs up my pillow. You don't seem good. He reaches for something underneath the bed. I can hear slushing of water, and after a moment, he places a damp cloth on my forehead. I want to ask if he sat on that chest all this time, but I only rasp painfully as he pushes his finger towards my lips. Shh. He stands up and walks over to the cupboard, pouring water into a cup. I sigh in relief, seeing that the wolf reads me like an open book. I couldn't ask for a better caregiver. Hoot hoot. He sits next to me, bringing the cup towards my lips. I strain to lift my head up, clutching onto the cup as the wolf tilts it, and I thirstily swallow one deep gulp after another. Once I had my fill, I exhale with satisfaction, looking at him with a grateful smile, but he looks back at me with deep concern. You have a fever. Yeah. Finally, my voice sounds as it should. I instinctively reach out to the dressing donning my side. Does it hurt? Less than I thought it would. More than I would like. Let me have a look. He brushes my hand away, looking carefully at the bandages. I furrow my brow as I see him bring his muzzle closer, wet woven nose twitching as he takes a few deep sniffs. No fresh blood. He sighs with obvious relief, returning to face me. What was that? I was worried you might have opened it when you fell. Why did you do that? I thought I saw something. I don't want to tell him I have confused him for a demon. Not when it is obvious. He was sitting there keeping vigil over me. I have implied being terrified of him way too many times than it's fair towards the male. I can see a wooden bowl on the floor filled with water and a soaked cloth. He was cooling me down throughout the day. You're such a good wolf, I say absent-mindedly, causing him to smile. His tail is swooshing against the bed, and I'm glad I managed to make him feel good about himself. I feel my mind clearing up a little from the delirium. However, it makes me only more aware of how burning up I am. What time is it? Rannoch looks towards the window, going silent for a moment, clearly seeking something in the night sky outside. I'd say past midnight. Was I out all this time? For the most part. What do you mean? You did mumble from time to time. What did I say? He pauses, looking at me slightly troubled. I couldn't understand. It was in a different language. Huh? It sounded like nothing I've ever heard. I try to think if I had dreamt about anything, but my mind is empty. There's nothing there for me to remember, aside from this ever-present feeling of dread in the recesses of my consciousness. Random shiver rocks my body and my teeth clatter loudly. I'm really cold. I brought all I have. He points apologetically to the thick bundle of blankets covering me, which I immediately recognize as the ones he used to sleep on in the other room. Those are from your bedding, I say, troubled. And your cloak. I touch the green cape sandwiched between the other two blankets. It's fine. You need them more than I do. You were sleeping on the chest. It's more comfortable than the floor, that's for sure. He grins and I can't help but feel bad. I gaze at the oversized bed around me. In truth, I look more like a doll in it rather than an actual person. My eyes venture back to the wolf. I don't want him to sleep on the floor or the chest. He's already done so much for me. It doesn't feel right. But this is the only bed, and I feel even without this fever, Rannoch would object to me sleeping anywhere elsewhere. Unless I almost dismissed the thought before I realized it actually makes sense. It would solve both our problems. I'd be warmer and he wouldn't be sleeping rough. I just need to try not to think about how awkward what I'm about to ask of him is. I muster up my courage. Would you sleep with me? I stumble on the words, realizing how they came across. Thankfully, Rannoch only responds with an amused, huh? The bed is large enough for the both of us, and I'll be much, much warmer. Despite the fever burning me up, I can feel the hot flush on my face. Again, ain't risking it. You sure about this? He asks, lowering his head to lock gaze with mine. I mean, only if you wouldn't mind. Normally, I would refuse. He says almost indifferently, which causes my heart to sink. I might have miscalculated on the count of you being sweaty and all, but then again, he bites his lip teasingly, perking one fang out. He's messing with me again. We wouldn't want you getting more ill now, would we? What? I blink in confusion, to which he only smirks. Or is it just an excuse to get to bed with me? I blink again, absolutely thrown off by his tease. You dick, I was stabbed! I poke his shoulder jokingly. Well, you seem to be feeling better. Okay, forget that I asked. I huff and feign ignorance. Hey now. His expression is still slightly mocking, but I can see his ears lower in defense. I was only joking. Well, I wasn't. Now you can sleep on the floor for all I care. I scoff teasingly and look away. Rannoch tries to lean into my field of vision, but I only turn further away, causing him to eventually click his tongue. I guess that's only fair. He stands up and splays himself lazily on the wooden panels in front of me. I cannot help but laugh at his antics and roll my eyes. Ugh, you're so annoying. He doesn't move, laying flat on the floor and ignoring me. Eventually, I pat the bed with my hand. His ears twitch at the sound, and he finally looks back at me. Does that mean I can get my bed back? He teasingly emphasizes his ownership, which makes me chuckle even more. Yes. I concede through a sigh. In a split second, the wolf leaps to his feet through a spectacular backflip, followed by a dive onto the bed itself, making the mattress jump. I laugh, concealing my amazement at how acrobatic this beast really is. He lays flat at my feet, just idly kicking his hind paws up and down, tail softly wagging in content. I missed you, baby. He croons to his bed. Although it's clearly a joke, I feel even guiltier for not suggesting sharing the bed earlier. You're not going to sleep like that, though, are you? I look at him as his head hangs on one side of the bed while his legs dangle from the other. Yeah, you're right. It's going to double as a blanket, but I think I might crush you. He takes a deep breath and readjusts his position, laying himself down next to me. It got quite awkward as I tried not to look at him. I don't think I've shared a bed with a guy before. At least, not like this. I almost scoot further away from him, creating a bit more space between us. I thought you wanted me to warm you up. He mutters with a risen brow. I did. I swallow heavily, realizing I didn't quite think this through. What I essentially suggested was us snuggling, which in retrospect is very, very weird. Nah. See, like, okay. Okay, it's like law at this point. It's not gay, because I'm pretty sure Rannoch doesn't wear... I'm pretty sure he doesn't wear shoes or socks or whatever. I don't know. I'm going to check real quick because, again, I don't know. So let's jump into the files real quick. Because, there's only one way to find out. Sprites. Is there like a full body sprite? I don't think there's a full body sprite. Is it backgrounds? No, it would be under illustrations. Where was it? Nah, it doesn't say. Yeah, yeah, you make a good point. I think they're doing like the thing that Ad Astra does, where it's like what you call it? Uh, they don't wear shoes or socks or whatever. So he just has to say no homo. That's all he has to do. Hang on. But what's that variable called? Hang on. Can I even like access the I cannot even access it, so I'm just going to like use like a text to speech thing. So that way it isn't gay. And therefore isn't weird. I think I want to set the speaker to
Hi. I can read web pages or documents for you.
There we go. There we go.
Hi, I'm Ranok. And I say no homo.
There we go. Now it isn't gay. Because he very clearly said no homo. Well, aren't you cold? He looks at my arms with quite focused gaze, causing me to do the same. I am trembling, but at this point I cannot tell if it's my embarrassment or the fever. Here. He extends his paws towards me, grabbing my shoulders and effectively pulling me into an embrace, solving my dilemma for me. I'm so thankful for the fever, as this way at least my embarrassment is masked. Cannot have a blush if you're burning up already. But my fluster quickly melts away, just as I melt in his arms. I allow my head to rest on his upper arm, gazing up at his fluffy chin. He's kind enough to not look at me, instead locking his gaze into the wall behind me, making this whole experience a bit less intense. I rest like this for a moment, almost dozing off as my mind spins violently. I don't know if it's because of his fur or if my fever took a dip, but suddenly I feel really hot. You're really burning up. He rubs the sweat off my forehead with his paw, and I just feel extremely embarrassed. I don't like that he sees me this way, all wet and with streaky hair. I can see that my sweat clumped his fur together, and it's not how I'd imagined my first time with a guy in bed to go down. I almost laugh at how stupid my train of thought is. Perhaps I should fetch Farissa, he says in a worried tone, and I immediately look up to him. No, don't. Salen. What reason could you possibly have to fetch her at night? Others would suspect something's wrong. Something is wrong. He almost growls at me, but quickly cools himself down. I'm worried about you. If you go to her, we will be found out. I don't care. He interrupts me with a stern gaze. You shouldn't have been stabbed in the first place. If we're found out, all this would have been for nothing. This doesn't feel right, Salen. It's okay. I reach up to his muzzle, petting his cheek fluff. He closes his eyes, resting his snout freely into my palm. It's not like I've done this before, but I feel like this is a pretty correct body reaction to getting stabbed. I say jokingly, trying to put him at ease. He still doesn't open his eyes, clearly avoiding looking at me. I'm tougher than you think. I try to reassure him, to which a very faint pleading whine escapes his muzzle, quite characteristic for a canine. You're such a dog. I smile in amusement, causing him to look at me with confusion. What's that supposed to mean? He sounds almost offended. Nothing. Oh my god. Oh, oh my god. Oh Nothing. I shake my head. Despite the fever rocking my entire body, I feel quite wonderful just being this close to him. At first it seemed odd and almost wrong to get so intimate with what is pretty much a beast man, but now that I'm resting in his gentle embrace, nothing could feel more right. I snuggle myself closer, almost burying my nose into his chest fluff. Comfortable? Mm-hmm. I croon, just taking in his scent. It almost feels like I'm laying in a meadow, with Rannoch's breath imitating a warm breeze. I'm so comfortable that I don't even notice the rare tremors going through my body every now and then. You're still shivering, he says sleepily as he tries to steady me with his other paw. It's fine. I respond, just enjoying his warm hold. I'm perfect. I adjust my head on his muscle. Never would I guess that a bicep could make for such a comfy pillow. It gives great support while still being soft enough, not to mention the fur, which just makes it all this much cozier. I don't know how long we lay like this. Time ceases to matter as I simply enjoy the moment until I feel something blunt pressing against my stomach, just below the navel. I pull my head away from his chest, looking down at visible.
I think I'm lonely.
Could you please put your penis away?
No,
I'm not going to ask you again. Put your penis away.
I am who I am.
I pull my head away from his chest, looking down at a visibly expanding bulge between his legs. Despite the pants, Ah! 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 Ah!
Self-voicing enabled. Despite the pants, I could clearly see the outline of his wolf hood. Self-voicing disabled.
I mutter, looking at his muzzle with a conflicted expression. But he seems fast asleep. Jesus Christ. I can swear I see his eyes move beneath the eyelids, and his soft snoring sounds almost as if he's faking it. But I decide not to press the issue. I mean, do I really want to have this awkward conversation? Perhaps he just can't help it, like a sort of night version of the morning would. Oh God, oh God! Ah! Better leave this forgotten and unspoken, even though it does feel almost flattering. Ah! I nestle my head back into his biceps, feeling his breath again brush my forehead, and doing everything I can to ignore his hard-on pushing against my underbelly. I lay like this for some time, struggling to fall asleep between occasional shivers and cold sweats, but the calm rhythm of his expanding chest sways me back and forth almost as if I were in a furry cradle. It slowly lulls me, and eventually I manage to doze off. Ah! Ugh! 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 God! Ugh! Ugh! That was awful. I wake up feeling almost glued to the damp bedding and covered in wet fur, my face smothered deep inside of Rannoch's waterlogged neck fluff. It's clearly day as the entire room is flooded with bright light. There's not a dry spot on my entire body. I feel as if I took a bath and simply forgot to dry off. I want to push away only to realize that Rannoch has rolled over onto me during the night and I am half crushed beneath him. I try to wriggle myself out, but it's pointless. His massive arm and leg wrap around me, holding me securely in place while his torso simply pushes me deeper into the bed. He must weigh a fucking ton. But it's not what I actually mind. Being beneath him like this ever present being beneath him like this is almost nice if not for my glistening skin and the ever-present sogginess. I think that even without my fever, I would have been drenched in sweat, as sleeping like this is pretty much akin to going to bed in a freaking in a freaking fur coat. Huh. I actually noticed my fever is gone. I look back to the still sleeping wolf. His soft snoring makes me reluctant from waking him up, but he doesn't react to my gentle nudges, and I start to feel little bit claustrophobic. I swear to God, it's going to be like, and nothing can go wrong. Oh no, it all went wrong. I rub my eyes off of the excess moisture only to grimace at the scent. Ugh, I smell like dog breath. I quickly sniff my hands, realizing it's saliva. Rannoch has been drooling right onto my forehead during the night. It's the push I need to shake off his charm and finally elbow him in one of the ribs. Oh, He snorts, raising up his head and finally allowing me to breathe freely. I take a deep gasp, enjoying fresh air free of our joint musk. Suddenly I freeze up, feeling as the male grinds softly against me. Uh,
Rannoch, please put your penis away.
Oh God, what the fuck? I look up at him wide-eyed. He's still half asleep, pulling me tighter underneath him, straddling me like one would straddle a crumpled-up duvet. He yawns, opening up his massive jaw, tongue dangling out in a goofy fashion. I feel as his entire body tenses up, all of his muscles tightening around me in a groggy stretch. His flexing makes me blush hard, as I feel his powerful form grind against my tiny body. Rannoch! Another stab into my groin. God. What? Rannoch! Huh? Should have forgot that was there. Hey, yo? Are we going to have another situation that was like Cilio? Huh? He pushes up with his paws, looking down at me, flanked between them. Salem. He blinks, allowing himself one final absent-minded thrust, causing me to wince in complete humiliation. Fuck. The wolf jumps off the bed, stumbling onto the floor and landing on his rump with a loud thud. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. He yelps, quickly covering a clear erection with his paws. I don't even move, feeling as if I was trying to avoid a T-Rex. If I don't move, maybe he'll just go away. Fuck, I don't want to talk about this. I don't even want to acknowledge this. Oh no. Hold up. I'm not even going to read that. I roll over onto my belly, hiding my face into the wet pillow. Why is this happening? I can hear him struggle to vocalize as he sneaks towards the door. I'll be in the other room. The doors creak and then I hear them shut. Fuck. Might have lost my memory, but I know I have never been so mortified in my life. Hello. Not only we got way too intimate, I'm basically all wet and stinking. What a horrible first impression to make. You don't share a bed with a hot stranger when ill. Wait, hot? What the fuck am I even thinking? What is wrong with me? I slam my head repeatedly into the pillow, causing wet slapping sounds which immediately make me cringe. That's not what it sounds like! There's a screech of wood accompanied by clatter of falling objects coming from the next room. It almost sounds as if Rannoch flipped the table over, the thought making me flinch a bit. You okay? Fine. He shouts out immediately, a hint of anger clear in his voice. I can hear him hastily readjust whatever it was that he tripped over. I'll go get the water. He mutters and leaves the house in a hurry. I smile reluctantly, taking some comfort in the fact he's as much embarrassed by this as I am. On the subject of water, I really do need to figure out a way to wash myself properly. I reek. Whatever was going on with me throughout the night, my body burned it off like a supernova. I decided to get out of the waterlogged bed and take a stretch. Oddly enough, I feel quite well. I even touch my side, rubbing and pushing against it, trying to ascertain if I'm healing well. There's not much pain, maybe a little discomfort, but that's about it. I guess Vol really knew what he was doing. But if the plan hinges on me being gravely wounded, I think I'll have to spice it up a bit. I mean, I might have a wound now, but I still need to sell it as something serious, as it certainly doesn't feel like it. I really hope it won't leave a nasty scar, though. Worst case scenario, I'll have something to remember this misadventure by. The wolf returns to the cabin, and I struggle for a while to face him, but eventually I open the doors separating the rooms. Again, ain't risking it. He sits slumped in a chair, looking at me, almost as if surprised to see me at all. Just did. What the fuck? I can see his ears go red as they fold back in discomfort. I'm so taken by his reaction that I completely ignore the fact how flustered I must look myself, my face burning and my mind desperately wanting to just run away and hide. But we cannot let something as stupid as this get in the way of what's important. As far as I understand, today's the day I'm finally introduced to the tribe, and as much as I trust that Verissa knows what she's doing, it's still a bit of a gamble. I don't want my potential last moment with Rannoch to be this awkwardness. Hey. I speak up through a smile. I want him to know everything's fine between us. I mean, he was sleeping after all. No foul, at least not the way I look at it. But Rannoch turns his gaze away, his muzzle twisting down in a troubled expression, eyes shut tight in discomfort. I approach him slowly, placing my hand on his furry shoulder. Want some breakfast? I'm sorry. He interrupts me, brushing off my hand and avoiding eye contact. Hang on. Okay, I haven't even, like... Oh, God. Honestly, if it is, then I'll just, like... wait and see if it gets worse. Yeah. He interrupts me, brushing off my hand and avoiding eye contact. You must feel pretty disgusted. Me? I basically drenched you in my sweat. If anyone should be You know what I mean. He looks at me sternly and I cut the act. I do, but I don't mind. I answer without thinking, causing his ears to perk up. He didn't expect that answer. That's clearly That's clear in his shocked expression. It was kind of funny. I try to laugh it off and not to dwell on the subject. Hold up, we're having network issues. Let's give it a minute. Okay. Hey, yo! I'm not like that. He gives me another serious look. Like what? I don't want you to think I'm defective. There's that word again. Um, wow, okay, I'm uncomfortable. Just gonna... Um, no. It was like, I was just ever so slightly uncomfortable. There's that word again. He says it with a hint of disgust in his voice, and I pull away. My body moves on its own, taking a few more steps back. I feel like I swallowed a stone. Why would you say something like that? I sound hurt because for whatever reason it hurts to hear him say it. But he doesn't look at me. Locking his gaze back into the distance. Eventually he breaks the silence. How's your wound? Oh, it's fine, doesn't even hurt that much. Good. I'll go to the bedroom so you can properly wash up. He mutters, standing up and walking past me. Seems he has moved on from our little accident, but not in a direction I expected or wanted. I guess I should keep my defect to myself then. No point risking losing a guardian over it. His sudden cold demeanor feels like a punch into my gut, and I get incredibly angry. Just a plaything. I think I'm going to leave off here tonight. Yeah, I've played it. Definitely not going to play it on stream. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna hop off